Hey, welcome to another episode of the Rob Report. I'm your host, Robert BOBTV Brown. Before we get into this segment, by the end of this video, I want you to do a few things for me. First of all, if you like the video, hit the like button. Please do. If you don't like it, hit unlike. It's okay. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Sometimes, as Jimmy Dole would say, you find yourself unsubscribed and you need to make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell right next to it so you can be notified when a new video is being dropped. Whoop, there it is. And more importantly, the super chat will be on for this segment. So if you want to donate toward the efforts of Bob TV, that's freely up to you. I do have a job, but any amount will help toward the growth of this channel. And more important, let us help you help us by introducing you to a program. There's a link down below that says Equal Justice for All. You're going to click that video link and there's some educational tutorial about a phenomenal program in America that is really making equal justice a reality for every citizen. So this program is phenomenal. The proceeds from you participating in the program will go back, 10% will go back into the Bob TV YouTube channel. So anyway, my name is Robert Brown with the Rob Report. Let's get into it.
Blue collar, white collar, black professors, white scholars, politicians, Dalai Lamas. Everybody in the whole wide world need hope if I be honest. I'm in that number.
Hey, good day. Welcome to another episode of the Rob Report. I'm your host, Robert BOBTV Brown. How you doing today? I know it's late. I'm going to try to make this quick. I'm going to start doing these about 12 noon because I will be going back to work soon, so I'm not going to be able to do these midnight shows. But I am going to give you an update. We have a date to go fight with arbitration, and I'm confident that my union will get me my job back. I love doing this, but I love my job too, and you know, it's not about the money. It's about the service that I provide to the citizens of New York City. But I want to welcome a couple people on up here. My Man Information Show, D. Wanders, Fred Edwards, New Page, Jesus or Jesus Zamora. I want to welcome everybody to the broadcast. And this lady right here, an amazing young woman. My opinion, beautiful. So I'm going to be a little biased on this, but I'm getting a little ticked off with Congress and everybody in Capitol Hill jumping on this young lady for a statement that she made. Now, I'm going to go to The View. The View had Bari Weiss, and you know me, I got a problem with Bari Weiss. Bari Weiss, sometimes she hate people and don't even know why she hate people. Case in point, Tulsi Gabbard. She hate Tulsi Gabbard guts, but don't know why. My proof is, go check out Joe Rogan. She was a guest on there, and she had no clue why she hated Tulsi Gabbard. Same thing go for this young lady who Tulsi Gabbard came in and gave a strong defense of what she said. And I'm going to give my strong defense of what she said. But let's get on. Let me go ahead to this clip from The View, and we'll take a look at that.
A hot topic that's come up several times at this table lately are accusations that some of the newly elected Democratic candidates are promoting anti-Semitism, which is a subject that our guest co-host Bari Weiss has spent her career writing about. So we're glad to have you here. And let me ask you this. Now, you are a proud Jewish girl.
Yes.
You had your bat mitzvah at, what's the name of the place again?
Tree of Life.
The Tree of Life that was hit by the terrorist attack recently. And even though you have been writing and talking about anti-Semitism, something switched with you after that terrorist attack. Tell us about that.
Well, I would say for the past decade or more, I've been watching, as all of you have, the rising anti-Semitism across Europe. Cemeteries being defaced,
right.
And a Holocaust survivor lynched in her apartment in Paris by her neighbors. People getting beat up in the street for wearing a yarmulke or for speaking Hebrew in Berlin. I always thought that America was different. That it was different not just because of our love of religious liberty and the fact that the founders themselves always had embraced the Jewish population of this country, but the fact that we don't have a history of genocide and anti-Jewish pogroms, and the fact that we don't have a flood of immigrants from countries where anti-Semitism is the norm, despite what Donald Trump would say.
But there's always been some anti-Semitism in this country. I remember during World War II, famously the St. Louis ship
was turned around.
famously turned back to go back to Germany because they would not accept them in this country. And FDR was our president at the time.
Yes,
so,
and there's always been country club anti-Semitism and having to change your name, anti-Jewish prejudice. What's different is the fact that I thought America was an exception has changed. I am now worried that what we are seeing in Europe could be coming here, and that's for a few reasons. The main one of which is the fact that conspiracy-minded thinking, the idea that their Jews are a secret power that control the world, something that we see both on the right and the left is rising. And in a politics where there's no healthy middle ground, where there's no center, and where the lunatic fringe is rising on the left and on the right, you kind of have a perfect storm. On the right, you have the far right saying the Jews aren't white and Christian enough.
Alt-right, please.
Alt-right, excuse me. And on the far left, you're hearing them say that the Jews are not victim enough. And so the Jews sort of have no place in American politics at the moment, and that is not a good situation for anyone.
Isn't it mostly coming from Muslims on the left?
No, on the left, it's also coming from people who try and claim that their criticism is just about the state of Israel, when it's really not about criticizing Israeli policies. It's about saying that of all the flawed states in the world, all the flawed states, including Syria and Iran and North Korea and Russia and China, only one doesn't have the right to exist, and that is the Jewish state.
So we've talked about this offline, personally, and now on this show, but it's easy to spot anti-Semitism when it's a bunch of crazy people with tiki torches screaming Jews will not replace us.
Yes.
What's trickier is tweets like Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's recently deleted about how Israel has, quote, hypnotized the world to carry out, quote, evil. That is harder to spot as anti-Semitic, which makes it more dangerous, you think. How so?
Does make it more dangerous because, as you said, when you see people marching with tiki torches, or you
all right, so my first statement was about Ilhan. And I got to let Bari Weiss know that racism, and that's all anti-Semitism is being racist toward Jews, is no different from being racist toward blacks, is no different from racist toward Asians or Muslims. We just changed the terms, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, I don't know what they call when you're racist against black people, just straight up racism. All of it is racism. All of it is rooted in hate. And Bari Weiss, baby girl, you got to understand this has been going on since the beginning of time. People not liking people for their statue, their color, you name it. People have tried to get rid of entire races because they don't like it. So this ain't nothing new. And then she's going to mention something about the people on the alt-right and the people on the far left. They claim they're being critical of the government of Israel when they're basically saying that Israel shouldn't exist. Nobody said Israel shouldn't exist. Ilhan didn't say that, and that was the next statement that McCain said, that Ilhan is spitting anti-Semitism. We're going to go to what she actually said. But baby, racism has always been around and it ain't going nowhere. Bernie Sanders, nobody can get rid of racism. White supremacy been existing for the longest time. That's a mindset. It's just like you trying to fight terrorism. Terrorism is a mindset. You're not going to beat terrorism. You can beat a country that practice or a faction that practice terrorism, but terrorism is a thought process. You're not going to beat that. Just like you're not going to beat hate group. You can't legislate, or you can legislate things that will, put them in jail, but that's a teaching. That's an ideology. You're not going to be able to get rid of that. So, Bari Weiss, baby. Now, some people are going to call me sexist because I'm calling her baby. Sister girl. This stuff been going on a long time.
Hear the Pittsburgh killer writing on social media, all Jews must die. That's very obviously eliminationist. The problem with anti-Semitism from the far left is that it oftentimes is smuggled into the mainstream under the guise of progressive values. So it says about itself.
Whoa. See, that's what her whole goal is. She hate progressivism. Just like most of the Democrats hate progressives. Yet they try to take ownership of the word progressives, but progressives are not just in the Democratic Party. Progressive, again, is a mindset. It is not a party. You can name it a party, but it's not a party. It's just like socialism. It's a thinking process. It's it's something you learned. It's not a party. It can end up being a party. So she's trying to say that progressives are spitting out anti-Semitism, and this is designed to crap on progressives. That's why she can't stand Tulsi Gabbard. She hates her. Go check out Joe Rogan's podcast, but she hates her. But she's trying to use this as a tool, and I'm quite sure some of them going to jump on this to crap on progressives.
I'm just standing up for the downtrodden Palestinians, which they are. I am just standing up for justice. I'm standing against racism. And so that kind of language is a siren song, including to Jews, 75% of whom vote for Democrats. And so that's the problem with it, is that it's not as easy to spot, oftentimes because it says we're just about criticizing Israel. In the case of
Did
Ilhan,
Nancy Pelosi shut it down?
Nancy Pelosi shut it down very aggressively with Ilhan Omar. The problem is that she still has a spot on the
Right.
Congressional Foreign Affairs Committee, and that's a real question.
I want to ask you a question because you're mentioning the Palestinians.
All right, now, one of the things we're starting to see is certain people want to use this tool to get her off that Foreign Relations Committee when she need to be on that Foreign Relations Committee because she have a deep root in her Somalitan heritage. They want to get her off, so they're going to try to use these smears to try to get her removed off that panel because she criticized certain governments. Again, she's not criticizing people. Maybe people that lead that government, but she's not criticizing people, man. These people, how they get on my nerves with this.
Yep. And an independent UN report into last year's protests along Gaza's border fence involving Israeli security forces that resulted in the shooting deaths of more than 180 Palestinians concluded last Thursday that there are reasonable grounds to believe Israel violated international humanitarian law. Now, isn't it possible to oppose those human rights violations without being anti-Semitic? In other words, criticizing the policies, but not criticizing Israel.
The answer is absolutely yes. Just as I am a proud American and I criticize Donald Trump's policy of separating families at the border, which you know more about law than me, may be a violation of international humanitarian law. That's 100% kosher.
Doesn't make you anti-American.
Not at all. It makes you, in fact, love America because you want it to stand up for its ideals. I'm a liberal Zionist. I am very critical of the policies of the current Israeli government. I believe that Bibi Netanyahu is selling out the legacy of the Holocaust when he makes common cause with leaders like Viktor Orban in Hungary. I believe that he is desecrating what the Jewish state is all about when he allows out-and-out racists into his political coalition. I'm saying all of that. I'm not an anti-Semite. That's about criticizing Israel. Where it crosses a line is when it becomes about dehumanizing Israel and Israelis and Jews. And when you say that the largest Jewish community on planet Earth, 70 years after the Holocaust, does not have a right to exist in the Jewish ancestral homeland, that's when it crosses a line.
Okay. Thank you for that. Everybody has to speak out against this type of thing. It's disgusting on both sides. Barry's book, How to Fight Anti-Semitism, will be out in the fall, so we will...
Sell that book, girl. That's what she there to do, sell that book. All right, so to use this as a tool to crap on the left is wrong. Now, she said she agreed with all that. I criticize my government. I criticize Benjamin Netanyahu. I criticize some of the racists that here. I do too. But you talking about anti-Semitic in Israel. They're crapping on and pressing down black people just like doing in other countries. The black Jews are being thrown in jail. And yet at the same time, the people in Gaza are having a hard time traveling back and forth. Now, I'm not the expert in that. I do have neighbors in my neighborhood, actually in the same building I live in, that come from that area, and we chop it up, and they tell me how it is and how they try to communicate. And the government of Israel oftentimes try to block that. So these things are happening, been happening for a long time. They're experiencing their version of Jim Crow. Okay? They are not, much as I love the people of Israel, the government I am very critical to. I mean, one of the things I'm critical is how we can give them $10 billion, what, a freaking month? And then, yeah, if somebody start talking about reparation, they lose their head. So I got my criticism with the government of Israel. I get my criticism with the government of the United States. But I love all my, you name it, from Russians to my black Hebrew Israelite brothers. I love them all. All right. So I'm going to go into a couple of these so-called tweets that Ilhan put up. Let's take a look at this first one. Being opposed to Netanyahu and the occupation is not the same as being anti-Semitic. I'm grateful to the many Jewish allies who have spoken out and said the same thing. So she's saying, look, I may be critical of AIPAC, and I am. Look, I'm critical of AIPAC because they do sometimes have an agenda. But that don't mean I'm critical of the Jewish people, even though there are Jewish people that's in AIPAC. So she's saying, look, me being opposed to Netanyahu, what's the big deal? I mean, I oppose to some things that happen in America. That don't mean I'm anti-American. Don't let the Muslim look fool you. So that's just one of her tweets that she put out. And then let's go take a look at another tweet. Give me a moment. She said, I'm told every day that I am anti-American. If I am not pro-Israel, I'm anti-American. Okay, I'm not pro-Israel. What does this country, who's supposed to be a country of freedom, freedom of expression, freedom of choice, how you going to force me to be pro-Israel when somebody that's pro-life, you want to jump on them and crap on them? You can't have it both ways. You got to let freedom be freedom. If you tell somebody they have a freedom to choose, then you got to give them the freedom to choose whether they're going to support certain things that happen in our government. This stuff is just crazy. Okay. She said, I find that to be problematic, and I am not alone. I'm with you, sister. I just happen to be willing to speak up on it and open myself to attack. Now, let me say this again. Bob TV, because I know some people going to get into my box trying to talk trash. And look, I could talk trash too. I try to be a man that's fair and balanced, open to hear all sides, try to hear from everybody's point of view, and then come up with my own conclusion. And whether you like it or not, that's between you and you. But I love the people of Israel, the people. I love the people of Russia. I love the people of Syria. I love the people of Palestine. I love the people of the United States. But I am critical of different governments. I'm critical of these parties. So no, you're not going to get me to be pro anything. I'm a black man. I am ultrally proud of my race, but there's certain aspect of my race that to me I think is just a little too extreme. So does that mean I'm not pro-black? Get out of here, man. Get out of here with that. Anyway, let me go on to the next area that I want to talk about. But Ilhan is a woman who's trying her best to just tell it like it is. And yeah, I'm glad she's in office. You know, I'm an independent, but I'm glad she's there to shake up the establishment. You know, sometimes I'm on the side of Ocasio-Cortez. She is in my district and she represents me, and I'm going to be meeting with her soon. Hopefully I can get on talk to her about a couple of things. But no, you're not going to get me to be pro anything, baby. You're not going to get me to be pro anything.